Hello, welcome to Caregiver Matters. On this video, I'd like to talk with you about the right to self-determination, which is basically an individual's right to direct their own life, and in the context of health, to direct their own health care. To be the one that interacts with doctors and that is given enough information to understand what's happening and has the right to assert their opinions and either accept or refuse care. This is important in the caregiving context because sometimes you have a parent or a spouse or a family member that you're providing care for who is what we call non-compliant, right? So what does non-compliant mean? It just means they won't do what you tell them to do. They won't take their medication as prescribed, or they won't let the nurse in to provide care, or they refuse to let you bring in a home health aide, or they won't even let you bring in a housekeeper, or they won't even let you in, right? And so sometimes you can talk them out of that stance, and sometimes you cannot. You need to remember that they always have the right to self-determination. Whenever you can involve them in the decision-making or the discussion about the decisions that need to be made so they feel empowered and listened to, that makes it easier for them to accept care, and it makes it easier for you to get them to cooperate. Sometimes you will not be able to get them to cooperate and they will refuse care. That may make you feel like they're putting their own life at risk, right? Are they being self-neglectful? Like, are they sitting in a chair for so long every day that they have pressure sores on their butt and there's nothing you can do about it? What does that feel like? I mean, I've been in that situation with my dad, and it is really infuriating. There are so many other things that you could do if only they would let you in the apartment or agree to any of those things. And when they don't, sometimes you have to let that scenario play out. And so what it meant for my dad was he was in his own apartment until he physically required hospitalization. And then he was in a nursing home for rehab. And then he was discharged to a enriched housing apartment where he got some services, some of which he refused so that he could hire them independently because he wanted control over them, right? So, and then eventually he ended up back in the hospital and then nursing home, et cetera, and in and out. That's what he was doing. And his struggle was to assert his right to self-determination and not have everyone else telling him what to do. And my struggle as his caregiver was to find the places where I could give him that, right? His right to self-determination, and not always assert my beliefs and opinions, no matter how educated I am about geriatric health and geriatric social work and all the things that I thought I was an expert in. Only he could say what he was willing and not willing to do. And I had a social worker friend I used to call frequently so she could remind me of his right to self-determination. And sometimes I would have to do the hands-off thing and let him take that scenario down the road and hope that it didn't kill him. You know? So you might find yourself in that position. I would enlist a social worker if you could get one. Either a social worker in the emergency room during a visit if your parent ends up in the ER. A social worker at the hospital who's doing the discharge work when they have a crisis. If there's nobody like that, then call your office for aging. See if they have someone who can help you. Call your local Alzheimer's Association chapter. Maybe they have somebody that can help you. Call your doctor's office and see if they can refer you to somebody, your parent's doctor's office, see if they can refer you to somebody. So get the help that you need, but remember that it is their right. And so part of providing care for them is defending their rights, even from you, unfortunately, because sometimes they're really putting themselves at risk. So I hope that this was helpful. If nothing else, I hope that it helped you see that if this is the situation that you're in, that you're not the only person in this situation. It's happening all around you. Caregivers are dealing with it all the time. And older adults are dealing with it all the time, trying to assert this right and stay as independent as possible as long as possible. And it's hard for them. And it's hard for you. So I hope this helps you feel a little bit less isolated. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Sorry this video ran long. I've tried it multiple times. I just couldn't get it any shorter. I just have way too much to say. So I'm just going to let it stand as it is. And until we speak again, Please take care of yourself because you are the most important person in your life.